Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Soul Purpose Leaders. Today, we have an amazing speaker, amazing leader here, and she is going to tell us all about herself. But I want us to actually remind ourselves why we come to this platform, why we're here. And this is because we actually get empowered, inspired, and we get to know what other people actually gone through their lives and where they are, how did they overcome their experiences or their challenges, and how did they impact other people. Now, this platform is actually there, is free, and is also a place that brings these leaders everywhere in the world. And the good thing about them, you can get chance to actually connect with them, and that's why they're here. So today I've got an amazing woman. Her name is Brooke Bownes, and she is the breakthrough specialist. Her mission is to inspire 1 million to remember how powerful they are by helping them uncover the true diamond that they are, that is buried under old stories and beliefs. Oh my goodness, that's so true. She is passionate about this, as she grew up with an abusive mother and then went on to have a couple of abusive relationships. So she knows what it feels like, and to feel uncomfortable, to feel unconfident, unworthy, unlovable, which she is now once one that's what other people's stories. She now know that she is confident, worthy, and lovable. And she also goes out and talk on stages to inspire people to think, if Brooke can do it, then anybody else can do it too. She also has gone from scared to stage. She was a scared little girl with no belief in herself. Through working on her mindset, she now completely changed her mindset to now being the breakthrough specialist who speaks on stage to inspire others. She mainly works online. When she's not speaking on stage, she's coaching people from all around the world and running online Confident Bootcamp. Oh my goodness, guys, if you have this, I will call it symptoms, yeah? If you have these issues, please get in touch with Brooke, because she knows what she's talking about. And before we can go any further, I would like to introduce you to Brooke Bownes. Brooke, how are you? And welcome to Soul Purpose Leaders.
Thank you, I'm fantastic. And thank you for inviting me.
Brooke, tell us, at what stage of your life you actually knew that you are in an abusive household? What age were you?
I was 5 when it kind of like really hit me. I grew up with a mother who was very possessive, very jealous, had lots of her own issues. And I was actually born with the cord wrapped around my neck, so it caused issues with my right side. And my parents were told that I would probably never walk, and if I did, I'd never ride a bike or run. I obviously didn't get the memo because I do all of those. And I can remember going to the hospital when I was 5 and saying to, seeing the consultant, and they said to me that it's great that you've actually managed to walk, but because of your weakness, you'll probably never be able to ride a bike or run properly because you won't be able to push the pedals around or hold the handlebar properly. And I can remember being very determined and saying, I will, and I'll bring my bike back and show you. It took me a year to learn to ride a bike properly. And I went back and showed the doctors, and all the nurses and doctors were cheering and excited, and they were like amazed that I did it. And as we went home and my dad went back to work, my mum then just really laid into me, gave me the biggest beating I'd ever had, saying, how dare I show her up? How dare I be the centre of attention? And that was when my life kind of really changed, because it just knocked everything out of me. I realised then, to be safe and to survive, I had to be shy and go within myself. And I just kept myself really small and really little. And that carried on throughout my childhood. Anything I ever tried to do, if I kind of like try to do anything for myself, I would be knocked down and knocked back when she'd get hold of me. So it was always realizing that I became a people pleaser because I realized that pleasing her was the safest way to survive my childhood. So I spent the whole of my childhood just constantly watching out for signs of how she's reacting so I could react accordingly.
So you had to kind of mold yourself to the way she wants to see you, or the way she sees, the way she wants you to be, and not actually be yourself or find what you're capable of, really.
Yes. And she because of the issues that she didn't like the fact that she hadn't, in her eyes, had a perfect daughter. And she used to say to me, I hate you, you're ugly, you'll never amount to anything, nobody will ever love you, and you couldn't even be born properly. So I used to hear that daily, day in, day out. And she used to say, don't tell anybody about your medical issues because nobody will love you and everybody will hate you for it. So for years I kept that quiet. And then I went to school and I was bullied at school because I was a bit different, because I had to go to physiotherapy to help with my right side and stuff. So the kids used to tease me and bully me at school. So I'd go from being bullied at home to being bullied at school. The teachers were amazing. I loved being with the teachers, but it was a very mixed emotion for me, because I loved being at school because I loved being with the teachers because they were lovely. Mm-hmm. But then the children weren't so nice, you know, as children are. They can be quite awful with things like that. So, and then I'd go home and I'd get bullied at home again. So, and my dad, I had a great relationship with my dad, but my mum was very clever. When she used to get me on her own, that was when the things would happen. And then she'd say, if you tell your dad, you'll get worse when we're on our own again. So I had to keep all this in me, and I didn't have anybody to like talk to about it or how to deal with it. So I just kept it all inside. And for years, I lived with this mask and this pretense that everything was okay, because that's how she said I had to be. Mm. And I had this huge mask of confidence, and people used to say, well, you seem so confident, but I wasn't. I was one of these people that had a mask of confidence, but underneath I was panicking all the time. So if somebody called my name, I'd have a hot burning sensation in my chest. Oh my goodness, what did I say to them last time? What did I say wrong? What have I done to upset them? It was that constant negative talk, because I knew when my mum called my name as a child, whether I'd done anything or not, I was in trouble. But now I've obviously worked through those, and if somebody calls my name, it's great. I think, oh, somebody wants to talk to me. This is going to be fun. What are we going to talk about? But it was spending that sort of lifestyle of constantly thinking, what have I done wrong? What have I said wrong? How am I going to make sure this is all right? Because I could never please her, whatever I did, because she had her own issues that she was dealing with. But I unfortunately was kind of like her outlet, her punch bag. So.
And that's the sad bit about parent, because a mother, you know, it's the saddest thing, because a mother's supposed to be protective, supposed to be the loving, the caring, the one that protect the child from anything else, anyone else. And this is the person that actually is causing harm than good. And that is the worst thing. Now, until what age that you actually stood up for yourself?
You broke up a bit there. Can you repeat the question?
Until what age did you stood up for yourself?
It wasn't till I was in my 30s. I left home at 16 as soon as I could, but I jumped out the frying pan into the fire and ended up in a relationship that was abusive, because I didn't kind of know anything different, and I had got no self-worth and no self-confidence. So the first person that showed me any kind of like love, it's like I grabbed hold of it and kind of left home. But then I realized it wasn't love, they were just trying to control me. And I spent 4 years with that person, and they would only allow me to wear grey, white or black because they didn't want people looking at me. I couldn't go out with my friends, and I kind of ended up being quite isolated. So then it was a sudden dawning on me that the common factor here was me, that I needed to work on my mindset. So I'm very, very passionate, and it may sound a bit cliche. If you change your mindset, you change your life. And that's the name of my group on Facebook, because changing my mindset literally changed my life. Because when I suddenly realized that I needed to work on myself and build up my own self-worth and my own confidence, then I would attract different people in my life. So that's what I did.
But what made you go to that point that maybe I need to change something? How did that happen?
It was a realization of when I'd got beaten up by my husband at the time, that why am I always the one getting beaten up and getting abused? There must be something different. So it must be something I'm doing. So I needed to change that and put those boundaries in place. So once I realized that, I started reading lots of self-development books, lots of self-help books to get my mindset different, to change my mindset. And I wanted to have children. So I didn't want that, that circle to carry on. I didn't want to be that awful mother that's abusive and couldn't deal with her emotions. So I wanted to sort out my emotions before I had children.
So it
So
was
I
only
really, yeah, yeah. I really just studied a lot as much as I could, and as much as I could get my hands on to realize that, and realize that I can change my mindset. I don't have to put up with all the things that I've been putting up with all of my life. And it was that realization of wanting to have children that I wanted to be different, and I wanted to get my mindset straight so my children had a better life than I had.
Yeah. And did you walk away, or did you stay with your marriage and change yourself?
No, I walked away, and I ended up living with a friend and sharing a bedroom with their 7-year-old daughter, because I had nowhere else to go, because I couldn't go back home, because my mum's attitude was, well, you made your bed, you lie in it, so you need to stay there. She wanted me to stay with my abusive husband because she thought, well, you're married and that's it. So I just left everything and just walked away and kind of rebuilt my life again.
And okay, if we go back to parents, we cannot get rid of. We cannot change our parents. We cannot, it's hard to actually just live our lives and say they're dead to me. Sometimes, it's very hard to just do that. How did you? So when the time came, and for you, you're building yourself. What made you say enough? Acting like that, what the way my mom wants me to do, and actually I can show myself, my true self.
It was I moved away from the village that I grew up in, so she had less contact with me, and I kept her very much at a distance while I was working on myself. And then I can remember I had my children in my early 20s, and she was always trying to interfere and saying, well, you should do it this way, you should do it that way. And I remember when I turned 30, she phoned up one day, because her view was, if she's up at 6 o'clock, I should be up at 6 o'clock in the morning. And she phoned up one day and I said, I'm done. I'm an adult. You're not telling me what to do anymore. And she still spent lots of years still trying to infiltrate and use different ways to try and push my buttons. But when she actually realized that she couldn't push my buttons anymore, she reacted differently. She cut me off. And she said, I don't want anything to do with you anymore, because she couldn't actually push my buttons and control me anymore. So that's her way of dealing with it. So she cut me off.
For how long did she cut you off?
I haven't spoke to her for 7 years now, because the last time I spoke to her, she made up this story because she couldn't deal with me having a really, really strong mindset and not listening to what she wanted to do. And she made up this story and decided that she wasn't ever going to speak to me again. And my dad, unfortunately, had a stroke, so he lost all his memory. So she kind of filled his memory with all her ideas. And because she's his carer, he kind of goes with what she says. So I haven't seen either of them for 7 years now.
Wow, that's different. This is I've never heard of the abuser cutting off because of that. It's remarkable, because it's like one in a few that they can do that. And do you feel that one day maybe you will go and see your dad maybe?
Yeah, I mean, he's quite poorly now because he's in his 80s, and she does have contact with one of my daughters, and she actually said to one of my daughters, if your mum does want to come and see her dad, she's always welcome here, but if she comes in the front door, I'll go out the back door. So she's made it clear I can go pop and see him if I want to, but it will be very, very awkward. And so it's a very unusual situation, so she's still trying to control and manipulate the whole situation, even though she's like in her 70s. She hasn't mellowed with age, she's just got worse and worse and worse as she's got older.
Oh my goodness. Thank you so much for sharing with us your childhood, your adulthood, and to where you are now. Now, what I'm doing this because people who are going through the same thing, what you went through, and to just really help them. Now, you came back to starting your own company. You started to actually helping yourself, but also helping other people. Now, can you tell us the journey that when you started to actually say, you know what, I can actually help people who went through what I went through or similar trait what I went through, but then actually share that back to them. Share that with us, please.
Yeah, it's quite interesting because all my life I've always wanted to help people, and being a people pleaser from like childhood, I've always tried to help people and please and make them happy. So I was kind of naturally one of those people that would help out anybody I could. And it was interesting that in my sort of 30s, people used to say to me, you should be a coach, you should do some coaching because you're always helping us out. You're always helping us out with our thoughts and our beliefs and things. And then somebody said to me, why don't you come on a free weekend? There's a coaching weekend, come along. And I thought, oh, okay, I'll try it out. It's a free weekend, nothing lost, only a bit of time. And when I was listening to him, I thought, my goodness, this is what I say to people naturally. This is how I'm already doing it. So it really got quite interesting. So I then went on and did a proper coaching course and got all my certificates and qualifications, and realized that it's just what I do. It's how I talk to people. It's how I ask the questions. And now I get them to actually realize that they are, as I said in my statement, they are all diamonds. Everybody's a single diamond. I see so many people saying, oh, I'm broken, I need fixing, or I can help fix you. I can help you. If you're broken, come and see me. But I don't believe anybody's broken. I believe everybody's a diamond. And they've got this amazing diamond inside of them, but it's just buried under lots and lots of old stories, old beliefs that's been piled on them for years and years and years. So what I help do is, like, peeling back the onion, as they say, take away those old beliefs, dig really deep, and I'm renowned for going like an inch wide and 600 miles deep to find that beautiful diamond so they can come out and shine in the world. And that's what I do when I talk on stage. I tell people my story, because when I had my children, I had 2 boys first, and then I got pregnant again. And somebody said to me, oh, I bet you'd love to have a little girl. And it was like, if I have a little girl, will the same thing happen? Because my mum didn't get on with my grandmother. So it was like, oh my goodness. So I really ramped up my mindset work and stuff. And unfortunately, I went on to have 2 gorgeous girls, and they're like my best friends, and the spell, or whatever you want to call it, is broken. But it was just understanding that you can absolutely change whatever you want to change. The stories that you're carrying around in your head could possibly be from when you were 5, 6, 7 that somebody else has given you, but they're only giving you that from their view of the world, and they may also have issues. So it's developing your own stories, uncovering all those old stories and those old beliefs, and then deciding what stories that you want to use going forward. And that's what I do. Is I've got my own stories now, my own beliefs. I am lovable. I am worthy. I am confident. I've got lots of amazing friends and family that absolutely love me, and I love them. And for me to be able to sit, and when I first started, it was really weird because one of my coaches said, sit in front of a mirror and say, I'm beautiful. Because my mother used to tell me every day I'm ugly, and I can remember being little thinking, I need to work on my personality because nobody's going to take any notice of my looks. So to sit in front of a mirror and say, I'm beautiful, was like, and I'd have this little voice in my head saying, no, you're not, you're ugly. And it took a while for that kind of change to come over, and people to say, what? You're absolutely gorgeous. You're not ugly. Where have you got that from? But we have these stories and these, when we're told, especially from a mother who, like you said, should be nurturing and caring, tells you these things, you just take it on board and believe it's the truth. But that was her version of the truth, and because she had issues, but it's not actually true. And now I can quite happily sit in front of a mirror or say to somebody, yes, I am beautiful. I'm a beautiful soul inside and out. But when I first used to say that, I have all these little inner voices, oh no, you're not. You look just like your nana, because my mum used to say that your nana's ugly and you look just like your nana. So all these voices used to pop into my head, but they don't anymore, they've gone. But it's, everybody has these little voices. It's just understanding that once these voices pop up, ask yourself, is that actually true now? You know, I've worked with one particular client, I always remember, she had an absolute fear of going on stage because she was scared that people would laugh at her. And I said, well, why do you think people would laugh at you? She said, well, when I was 7, I went on stage at school and I forgot my words and all the children laughed. So I said to her, okay, well, how old are you now? She said, well, I'm 35. I said, okay, so you're not 7? She went, no. I said, are you sure? She went, yeah. And kind of like looked at me like I was strange. I said, okay, I'm just checking that you're not still 7, right? I said, are you going to be talking on stage to a group of children? She went, no. I said, so you're not going to have a group of children laughing at you? She went, no, because there's no children in the room at all. I said, so the people that are coming are wanting to hear what you've got to say? She said, yeah. And I said, do you know what you're going to say? Do you know your subject inside and out, back to front? If I said to you now, talk about the subject you're talking about, would you be able to talk about it? Oh yeah, no problem. I said, so okay, so you're not 7, you're not, you know what you're going to say, you're not going to speak in front of an audience of, and she started laughing and she realized what we were doing. And she went on stage and she absolutely smashed it out. She never forgot her words and said, you know, it was amazing. She absolutely loved it. And she's carried on going on stage and having a great time. But it was a real big fear to her because we build these huge monsters up in our head and beliefs, and we think everybody's going to react in a certain way. Like when I had the medical issues, my mum said to me all my life, don't tell anybody because people will think you're strange and nobody will ever want to speak to you and nobody will ever love you. So I kept that quiet for years. And the first time I talked about it on stage, afterwards I thought, okay, who's going to mention this? Who's going to say something? But nobody really mentioned it apart from saying it's great that you've got over your medical issues. And my goodness, what an amazing story that you've come through all that abuse. So I'd built this big monster up into my head that wasn't even there. And we do this all the time. So that's what I help my clients with, to understand that the things we build up in our head aren't what other people are thinking or aren't what other people are saying. It's just what we build up in our own minds.
It's so strange, but it's the reality. We create the stories. We actually put it ourselves in a very corner that we don't want to put ourselves in those corners. But then we don't realize that until someone else or until we say it out loud. Then we're like, no, I don't mean it like that. So it's so true. And we need people like us out there. We need people like you sharing that. Yes, you're a diamond. Yes, you don't see it yet. I see it. And if you start believing in it and say it out loud and actually start seeing it in yourself, oh my goodness, you can make a difference in your life, but also to other people. That is the truth. And that is the way to go forward. But end of the day, nothing is going to change unless the person wants to change themselves. And this is why we need someone like you to be actually saying, yes, you can. You know what I mean? This is the journey. Now, I would like us to actually share with us what is coming up for you. Do you have any like opening boot camps or anything that you're doing right now?
Yes, I've got another boot camp starting the end of September. So if anybody would like to join it, it's great. It's a 5-day boot camp and it's all about confidence. And we hit the ground running on the Monday. So if you're faint of heart, it's probably not for you. But if you're ready to change and you really want to go for it, then the amazing results that I've had with the boot camps before, I've had people that have never done a Facebook Live before, and then by the Friday they're singing, doing a Facebook Live because they didn't like their voice before, but they've come out and sung. People have got more clients because they've come out and been themselves, because I dig deep and in the week we go really, really deep. I spend an hour every day on the challenge and really help people and draw out the bits that they're scared of and actually make them realize they're not that scary. So I'm very quick at digging out really deeply what people are scared about, because some people come to me and say, I'm stuck, but I don't know why. And I said, well, tell me your story, talk to me. And once they've told me their story and talked to me, I can say, okay, well, this is where you're stuck. They're, oh my goodness, I never realized that was the issue. So yes, I love doing the boot camps. They're absolutely amazing because the change over 5 days is incredible. And then people can obviously work with me one-to-one, or I also have a group program as well that I do. So if anybody's interested, they can obviously contact me. We can talk about that.
And where can they actually contact you? Where are you hanging around?
On Facebook, if you were to contact me on Facebook, it's facebook.com/Brooke Bownes01. You can find me because it's not a very common name, Brooke Bownes. And I'm also on LinkedIn as well and on Instagram. So feel free to contact me on either of those platforms.
Thank you so much, Brooke. And also, I want to ask you is that if today was the last day, and you've got this message inside of you to share to the world, what would that message be?
Just be yourself. Because I talk to so many people that are pretending to be something they're not, have this mask on, but when you actually get in alignment with yourself and be yourself and have fun, you have so much more energy because it's not tiring. Because when you're trying to be something you're not, it's so tiring. So just be yourself, because you will attract the people in your life that love who you are, even if you're quirky, if you're weird. And I embrace my weirdness now. When I was a child, I was always trying to be normal and fit in. Well, I love the fact I'm quirky and I'm a bit weird and a bit out there. So it's just be yourself. You know, everybody's always so busy comparing each other to each other, saying, oh, I'd love to be like them, I'd love to be like them. But if you actually discover and get in alignment with who you are, discover your inner diamond and just shine that amazing diamond, you will have an amazing life. Because I know, because I've been on both sides of the camp, I've had that false mask and pretending everything was fine, pretending to be confident. But now I'm just myself and I'm confident in my own skin, and I do shine out to the world. And I've got an amazing clientele and friends and family that absolutely love me, and I have an amazing life. So just go out there and be yourself, because everybody else is taken.
I love that. That's amazing message, because it's the honest truth. There's no one else you can be better than yourself. And that's all it is.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much, Brooke. And one more thing I would ask you is that, would you be willing to come back?
Absolutely. Yes. Anytime.
Thank you so much, Brooke. And for everybody else who's listening, this is an amazing speaker, amazing coach. Get in touch with Brooke, but also get to know her, what she does and everything. So follow her on social media. And yes, we're going to bring her back. And Brooke, is there anything you would like to tell us before we close for today?
Just remember, you can change your life whenever you want to. The stories that you've got going now, if they're not helping you, not serving you, you can change them completely and do something that serves you and helps you and brings enjoyment into your life. Because life is about having fun and enjoyment and being in line with who you really are.
Thank you so much, Brooke. And for everybody else, until next time. And thank you so much, Brooke, for joining us today.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Thank you.